Hello everyone, this is MrTopF here. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be playing nothing. Yeah. Today we're going to be hitting spacebar many times. For every time I say MrTopF, I get to put the spacebar one time higher. So, are you ready? Okay guys, let's get right into this. So, look at this. MrTopF, 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 MrTopF. We said it 10 times, and we're going to have to say it 1,000 times. This is gonna be a long video. Actually, we're going to be saying it 500 times, okay? So, I'm going to be stopping at milestones. Okay, are you ready? MrTopF, 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 MrTopF. Guys, this is only 25 out of 500. We have 475 left. This is gonna be a long video. MrTopF, 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 MrTipTop, MrTopF, 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 50 times. We're halfway to 100 and like a tenth there to 500. Oh my god. MrTopF, 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 MrTopF. We're at 75. Oh my god. Okay, this isn't a lot, by the way. Let's go to 100. Okay, guys, let's go to 100. MrTopF, 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 MrTopF. Okay, guys, so let's let me tell you why I'm doing this. So if we click here, you'll see. If we click your channel, you will see that it says 150 subscribers and 500 views on this video. So thanks for 150 subscribers. Big milestone. Let's go. Okay, back to hitting the spacebar. Let's go to 150 until I stop. MrTopF, 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 MrTopF. MrTopF, 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 MrTopF. We finally 150. This might be a short video, but yeah. Okay, guys, let's go to 200. MrTopF, 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 MrTopF. Guys, if we look, let's go on calculator. So if we search 500 minus, wait, why am I doing this in the calculator? We need 300 more. My voice is already dead, okay? Okay, let's keep clicking. MrTopF, 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 F, MrTopF, 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 Mr. What am I saying? Oh my god. Sorry guys, my voice is so weird right now. MrTopF, 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 and MrTopF. 250. Let's go to 300. MrTopF, 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 MrTopF. Wait. MrTopF, 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 300 MrTopFs. Guys, let's keep going. MrTopF, 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 MrTopF. MrTopF, 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 and the 400th MrTopF. Okay, guys. MrTopF, 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 MrTopF. Guys, one more, and then we did it. 3, 2, 1. MrTopF. 500. Well, thank you for 150 subscribers, I guess. Oh, my voice is dead. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, smash that like button, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.